Welcome to another episode, guys. Welcome to the Couch Show. If you're new
I'm
to the
back.
channel, welcome to Sibling Rivalry. I'm Lynn. This is
I'm
Ray.
Ray.
Um,
Thursday show ready for the
yeah,
weekend.
going into the weekend. Yo, you know what though? This is gonna be a heavy conversation, I feel. Just getting into it about, being motivated to let go. Uh Yeah, I think it's going to be a heavy episode. So before we jump into it, let's just do a little bit of catching up. If you guys again are new to the channel, through this channel, we just aim to be givers of love, good vibes, and strength through conversation. So at any point, feel free to drop something in the comments, and you can contribute. We'll pull up your comments. Um, and we can talk about anything. No topic is taboo on this show.
Mhm. All right. Good housekeeping.
Oh, we're trying to get those likes. Be sure to hit that like button because it helps us with the algorithm.
Comment.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to kill my camera real quick, but I'm
Okay.
going to keep talking through the audio. So I'll let you kickstart the topic.
Alrighty then. So, jumping right into it. Motivation to let go. So as I was preparing for this episode, I did my own little like deep diving, and what I've realized is that I haven't let anything go yet. So for me to come on
It's
here and
really
be like, oh
hard.
yeah, it's so easy. Just let it all go. Let the past be in the past. It'll be a little hypocritical. So I'm actually
No,
gonna
but it's
tackle this
not
conversation.
hypocritical because at least you're reflecting, and that's what we're trying to do on this show. It's just reflect, right? We're
Mhm.
just two people on the internet, right? Two siblings on the internet. We're not saying that we're experts in anything. We're just having the conversation. And I get it. It is hard to let go of things, but that's where it starts. It starts with that, this is a continuation of the last episode, which was what? To do that inner, looking inside, right?
Mhm.
And that's what letting go is about. Like you got to do that work inside. And yes, it is extremely hard. It is.
So like for me, I've been like pushing through life with a broken heart, and I have major trust issues, man. Like I just feel like all the human beings in my life that have been like really that I've let into my life have been really negative. I feel like I just attract um yeah, I attract very negative energy, and that's not just like in the relationships I choose to get into, but that's also like my friendships. Um I've had like a childhood best friend who, once we became like adults, she just kind of decided she no longer wanted me in her life, and like no explanation, nothing, just cut me off. And I have another good friend who, married my brother and just dragged his heart through the mud. I have, I've gone through intimate relationships where the men have just kind of like gotten into my head and like crushed my soul from the inside. And then like there was another one which, bio, obviously that ended the way it did. Like he ended up coming in, and not only did he hurt me, but I allowed that energy into my family as well. Like it hurt my mom, it hurt you as my brother. And I just feel like, I don't know. Like at this point, I don't know how to trust. I'm afraid that like anybody allow into my life is eventually going to hurt me, going to, deceive me, or just stab me in the back in some way. It's crazy.
It's deep. It's deep. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So I mean, but you're still alive.
Yeah.
That's the magic of all of this, right? You're still alive, you're still breathing. Nobody really killed you, nobody hurt you, nobody did anything extreme to you. There
Mhm.
is still time for you to heal. And like we said the last episode, time is a commodity that you can't get back. So
Mhm.
at this point, if you're still holding on to any of this baggage, the only person you're hurting is yourself. All these people that you mentioned, they're living on with their lives.
Right.
They've moved on. They're with other people. They had kids. it's like they are finding the happiness in life that you're forsaking yourself from enjoying because you're still holding on.
Yeah. And it's like hard because it's not like, you intentionally hold on to things.
Mm-hmm.
But those like messages that you have on replay in your mind, it affects you throughout your day. It affects, your day-to-day decisions. And if you're not consciously making an effort to, open yourself up to possibilities, open yourself up to, living life to its fullest, you end up just looking back and seeing that you were closed off for so long.
Right. Right. I mean, but you also got to realize, like, you don't want to end up being so jaded that you find yourself alone at some point in life, right? And be like, why does this, there's a saying, like, the bad things tend to happen to the good people, while the bad people tend to just get away with everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like the stuff that people has done to you is not even on their radar anymore.
Right.
They don't care. So why should you care? Why should you hold on? And it's funny because there's somebody right now, I'm not going to get into it because I really don't want to be all, political about it. But there's somebody right now that people are making big waves on because his message right now is he's just going out saying, love everyone. If they did something bad, love them too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like that's his message. Like he's
Are
literally
you talking
coming
about
out here saying,
Jesus?
no, not Jesus. Nobody even talks about Jesus anymore. And that's
This
that's
is
one thing
very
that's really
true.
sad about our
Yeah.
society, and this is why we're declining. But that's a discussion for a different day.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's in pop culture right now, right? And everybody's talking about it. He's making the news, he's making the rounds, and they're taking what he said out of context. But really what he's saying is love everyone. And it's funny that we're talking about this because he also mentioned, some grievous scenarios in society that I feel like to this day, us as people, we didn't live through that times, but we still hold on to the pain of the incident that happened back then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when are we going to let go? As a people, when are we going to let go? When are we going to heal? When are we going to move forward? Right. And this goes back to
Right.
what we're talking about as
And
far as
that's the
like,
key right there is moving forward.
right, right. And I feel like that's what's increasing a lot of the decisiveness, not decisiveness, the vision that we see in society is because a lot of these, groups and a lot of these people are still holding on to something that they didn't even live through.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, tragedy, horrible, horrendous things in history, but that's once again, it's history.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're focused on the past, that's what causes depression, right? That's why
Right.
it's depressing. Like, oh my God, because you're still focusing on that past. So how do we move forward? How do we move forward? I mean,
And
it's a question
also,
for just individuals, and it's a question of society.
right. And also, even if you aren't necessarily, living in the past, your past can be holding you back. For me, like with all the pain and like the trust issues that I deal with, it makes me indecisive when I try and make decisions going forward. Because now I'm questioning everything. Now I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, well, every decision I make is the wrong decision. So, it's
Excuse me.
almost like I'm feeling stagnant because I haven't let go of the past and I haven't been able to, find the healing to move forward.
And honestly, I know this sounds cliche, and people are going to bat their eyes. You're probably going to bat your eyes. I can't tell because you got shades on, but a little prayer for guidance will go a long way.
Hmm.
And I would make the guess that people who do have religion and have that higher being and that higher purpose in their lives they tend to live a fuller life. They don't dwell on stuff like this. Why? Because they ask for guidance,
Hmm.
right? They understand that maybe something was part of the process. That's another thing. Like we don't evaluate. We tend to see things and be like, why is this happening to me? Instead of taking it in and saying, what can I get from this? What can I
Right.
learn from this? How can I grow from this? you
And
know?
that's a very powerful question, a very powerful tool to be able to reflect and say, instead of why is this happening to me, like think of it as like this is happening for me.
Mhm.
It's gonna happen. You can't change it. So you have to look at, like you said, what's the positive in it? Where do you go from here? What doors is it opening for you?
Ironically, I would say that if it wasn't for my previous, relationship that threw me, dragged me through the mud,
Mhm.
um, I would have not found my self-worth, right? Because I told you, coming going in, for years, I had low self-esteem. And I was just going through life with that. And it wasn't until I finally had enough of it and was like, yo, this is just crazy. I'm done with this. Like I know I deserve better than that. I don't think I would have opened my eyes to that,
Mhm.
you know? Because until you're in it, until you realize it, it's like when people tell me, the stories of like a woman who's getting beaten by her husband, and they're like questioning like, why does she keep going back to him? Why does she keep going back to him? It's because
Right.
she hasn't hit rock bottom yet. you know he hasn't taken her down to that level yet for her to realize I can do better. Like I know that there has to be something better than this.
Yeah. I always say,
And,
you're in a season of your life or you're in a relationship until you learn the lesson that you're meant to learn from that relationship.
exactly. So with that said, why, with you, and you just said that you had that understanding,
Mhm.
then why not? Why can't you proceed forward? Why can't you let go? When
Hmm.
knowing that everything happened in your life is a phase, it's a chapter. It was
I
meant to
think
happen.
I think it's a culmination of like multiple events. I have this fear now that there's just like this I attract negative energy.
That's
So
all.
I'm
That's all. It's a
questioning.
perspective.
Right, it absolutely is. But now I'm almost it's almost like a paranoia. Not paranoia, but like like it's almost like I'm looking for the evil in people now rather than, accepting the
Well,
good that they're presenting.
the evil's in everyone. You
Mhm.
know, as the saying, when the devil talks to you, he doesn't talk to you, he talks in you. It's like we have those demons inside of us. You know, to take it in perspective, like I said, I'm in my spiritual journey. I'm going down these roads, but you got to realize that a lot of if you want to look at the Bible very analytical, you want to look at religion very analytical, then it's fine. Those are all metaphors to us, our struggles as human beings, right? So we all have negative and positive tendencies, right?
Mhm.
Everybody has that. There's going to be people who are going to do evil things, but you also got to understand that the most amazing love in this world is when somebody chooses you.
Mhm.
Now, if we're lucky enough to have, a father or a mother who loves us unconditionally, right? That's an amazing love. But, you know, even like family kind of has to love you, right? Kind of fall into that. You can't choose your family, right? Friends, they kind of choose you, but they're not at that level of a significant other, right? They're at that friend level, right? Whereas when you bond with somebody, and once again, bonding is very limited in today's world, right? In today's society, it's a unicorn to a certain extent. But when you see those people who bond with somebody for 20, 30, 40 years, almost all their lives, and they're like, that's where you actually believe, like, in the whole thing of like a soulmate, right?
Mhm.
Because you hear the stories like one passed away, and then a few months later, the other one passes away too, because why? They were lonely, right? They
Yeah.
didn't know how to move forward. So it's like you got to understand that that's something powerful to be able to bond with somebody, right? And to close yourself off to that because you're worried about negativity when everybody has negativity, everybody has positivity. So it's like, what do you bring into it? That's the question. It's like, what do you bring into it then? If you're
And I
already
think
bringing
that,
in,
like that's where you find the answers to it. It's like you said, when your last relationship ended is when you started looking inward and you started discovering yourself. And I think
right?
that's where you find that at. It's once you've decided like, hey, now what? Like how do I move
Mm-hmm.
forward? When you make that conscious decision to move forward, that's the process of you letting go.
And it didn't happen over. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It took
Mhm.
each day. day by day, me gaining that strength, right? To say, all right, enough is enough. I'm out of here, right? And now I'm at a point where I'm okay being alone. Not because I'm jaded and I'm like, oh no, no, it's because I'm like, listen, I have a standard now, and
Hmm.
I know like somebody who comes in, yo, are you at this standard? And if they're not at that standard, keep it moving. And
Right.
I see that more with society. Like I see people, as once you see the veil and the facade of society, once it drops, right, the emperor doesn't have clothes, or you finally see behind the curtain, you see the wizard's just a man, right?
Hmm.
All these metaphors that I'm using, and that's really what society is. It's like you see these people being propped up on fake validation.
Hmm.
And we said this in the last people, a lot of people do not have a complete sense of self. It's why they get into bad relationships. It's why they're constantly chasing after instant gratification. It's why, you'll see people, with all the holics, right? Shopaholic, alcoholic, all that stuff, because they there's a sense inside of them that's broken, and they just want to numb that pain.
Right.
So,
I think also, a good way to put it is, when you're finally letting go, you're making a conscious decision to embrace the next step, the next chapter, the next, be it, embracing yourself,
mhm,
embracing finding, what your heart really like finds joy in, doing more activities for yourself and, trying to connect because a tribe is important. Like for example, for me, with not being able to trust people, I find myself alone often. And that's not how we're supposed to go through life.
no, we're very wired to be social creatures.
Yes, and we have
There's
different pillars. And like you said before, there are different types of relationships. You have your lifelong friends, you have your significant other, you have your
mhm,
parents, your family. There are different pillars in your life, and you have to create those bonds with different people to create those pillars. You have
right,
to
and nurture those
connect.
bonds, because that's the thing. Like a lot of people tend to just take, but they don't give.
Hmm.
They don't nurture those bonds. Like I'm the tourist with that. I don't really look for anybody, but that's just the way I'm wired.
Hmm.
I'm the anomaly that is part of society where you like most people are social creatures. I'm not. I like being alone. I find bliss in just being alone. It takes a lot out of me to search for people and be around people. It really does. But that's just how I am. It's like that's the reason why like I was watching like comedians, and I think Robin Williams said it the best, is that people who tend to be really introverted, almost a sense of like depression to
Hmm.
themselves, like they understand what that feeling is, and that's just why they go out in the world and try to make everybody laugh and make everybody happy, because they don't understand that sense, right? So I can get that. I kind of understand that. Like I kind of I kind of live in that self-loathing sometimes. But then I get out of that and I'm like, all right, I can't keep doing this, right? I gotta go and I gotta be sociable and I come around and I do things, right? Because it's like I know I can't just be that outcast.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. Thank you for the compliment. Oh, you know what? Ma hasn't seen it either.
Saying what?
I really am wearing sunglasses for a reason, guys. I'm not just one of those people that's like, oh, look at her trying to be cool with sunglasses indoors.
Then got a black eye. She was getting feisty.
I'm trying to like hide my monstrousness.
She was getting
Uh,
feisty at the club last night.
I let the wrong person get close to me again. No, that sounds awful.
Stop here before you take this show down too, because this one we were going on a good rant. Yeah, so like I feel like you gotta just reflect on yourself and realize like, listen, there's things I gotta work on, and that's okay to say that. You're not gonna fix it tonight. You're not gonna fix it, tomorrow. But you got to take the steps to start doing it and moving in the right direction. And that goes with letting go.
Yeah,
Look, if
embracing.
somebody hurt you, the best thing you could do is pray for their happiness. As crazy as that sounds, pray for their happiness because when they're happy, they won't be your problem anymore. Simple as that. Like I keep telling myself, I'm like, yo, I hope my ex finds a great husband, somebody who she feels content with. I hope she has everything she dreams for. I can list it out: a nice home, a nice car, a nice blah, 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 because I don't ever want to see her coming knocking on my door again.
It's easy. I feel like
I
it's
don't want
easier
that
to do
drama in my
that.
life again.
It's easier to do that with people who have also um kind of I don't want to say they've moved on, but I want to say like it's easier to do that with somebody who's not continuing to send you like that negative energy and that just that hate. I feel as though I have people from my
So,
past who are
did I say that
continuing.
I don't get that negative energy? Listen, people who are like that, people who tend to hurt you, are always going to have that negative energy. But regardless, that's not a reflection. Listen, that's a reflection on them. That's not a reflection on me. So I'm going to continuously provide that positive energy because I don't want that negative energy back in my life. So whatever I have to do to keep them, whenever I start thinking about, the past and certain people or whatever, I always say I hope for the best. I hope they find their happiness. That's it. It's a reflection on me, not them. Trust me. There are times that negativity comes around, and I'm like, I got to deal with it. At this point in time, I got to deal with it. But then once it's gone again, I pray again and for happiness because I don't want that negativity.
Mhm.
I get it. I get what you're saying because you're going through, court issues and court battles and all that stuff. But once again, that doesn't change who you are. You can still hope for positivity. It doesn't hurt nothing. And actually, it makes you feel better. If you're genuine about it and understand, you've created something special that can never be taken away between you and this other person, then why not hope happiness? Why not love?
Well, that's the key right there, like it's not that like children can be taken away. That's the issue right there.
Yes,
Like
children can be taken away.
for someone to have just so much hate towards you that they want to take your child from you, that's heavy. And that's something that you
It
can't
is.
just,
It is.
say, oh, like, well, this is what I'm dealing with and it's gonna be all right. Like it's hard. It's hard.
I,
There's no
and I would never want to
getting away
be,
from.
and I would never want to be in that scenario where I get a child taken away from me. But I
Mhm.
would hope that even if I was in that scenario where I find myself and my child's taken away after all the rage and anger, of course, after all the rage and anger, I'm gonna be human. I'm gonna fucking break shit. I'm gonna lose my shit, right? But I would hope even after all of that, if I do find myself, up against the courts and up against everything where I can't move, I'm confined. I would hope that in the end, I would say, well, you know what? This is the scenario I found myself. I still hope for the best. Like I still listen. I'm a firm believer in this. Like, there's no other way you can win in society. You could keep being negative, and you can wish for negative things to people, and you could flip it and wish for happiness. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, I still don't know what's going on. At least it makes me feel better knowing that I wish for happiness. And listen, you created a beautiful kid who, even if he, God forbid, is taken out of your life, he still exists.
That's true.
So would you not wish for happiness for the person who's raising your child so that your child can also see happiness as well?
No.
No. All
No.
right. All right. All right.
Yo,
Maybe it's just
I
me.
so want to agree with you, but no, deep inside, hell no. Fuck your mother, fuck your dad, like your uncle, your
But what is that?
everybody.
What
I
is
hate
look
them
at look
all.
at
I don't want
look at
any of
that
them to be happy.
look at
Fuck
that
your
energy
dog,
you're
man. Let your dog
look
go in the cold and like fall into ice
but
or something.
look at the energy right now that you're exerting. What's the point
Yes,
of
and
that?
that's the
What does
energy
that
that
bring you?
but that's
It
the
doesn't
energy
bring you
that
closure.
I'm holding on to now because I'm just so sick and tired of being nice. I'm tired
Yes,
of that
but
shit.
let me ask you this. So me and you, we know karma exists because we've
Mhm.
seen it in action.
No, fuck that. I have not seen karma exist.
You did see it in action because we lived through at the moment of when we went through some of the most harsh things, right? The two individuals that caused, oh, Layton, where are you? I'm like in the midst of proving that you've seen karma and you disappeared on me. Are you back? Are you back?
I'm here. I'm here.
Look like your internet went for a snack or something. All right. So in the moment where two individuals were causing us the most pain,
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
those two individuals had karma hit them straight in the face. But just like how karma normally does, it doesn't come straight for you. It comes for everybody else you love,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You witnessed this. The person you're talking about, his mother passed away. You don't think that's karma? And if you were wishing that negative energy, wouldn't you have a sense of guilt thinking that might have been your prayers that were answered, but it
No, because
happened
I
to
was
his
nice
mother?
back then. Back then, I had a clean conscience back then. Today,
You
something
should be nice
happens, and they feel
always.
like, "Ooh, I sent that energy over there," but
Always.
not back
Listen,
then.
there is something very blissful about turning the other cheek. I know it sounds cliche. I know it sounds corny. Most people don't really have religion or the Bible and all this stuff in their lives. You know, listen, this is really the more I see it, people need Jesus in their lives. But like I said, that's a different discussion for another day. But just that whole sense of just taking the higher ground or the higher road, just turning that other cheek. Like I will not. I'll get angry. I'll lose. I listen. When that negativity comes in this house, sometimes I lose my shit. I lose my temper. I'll admit that shit. I have a very bad temper. And I'm like, why the hell am I still dealing with this when it's been long gone? And now those are those hurdles I gotta jump through. But once I come to my sensibility and I come to my normality, right? My temperature comes down and I'm like, all right, calm, woosah, woosah. And I'm here. I'm just back to that. You're like, yo, I throw in positivity that way so that way you stay over there. Listen, there's a
More
reason for
power
my
to you.
madness. There's a reason for my madness. I want stay over there. Don't come over here with that negativity. Because I guarantee that when shit hits the fan over there on your end, over there, right? When shit hits the fan, that negativity is gonna be directed right towards you. And that could be a reason why that things are being dragged out in court and things are being so hostile and all this stuff because maybe things ain't right at home. You're not being let in on that other side, right?
Right.
And this is why if you just hope for happiness and then they find a balance and happiness on that side, maybe they wouldn't challenge so much in court.
Nah. See, that was my reasoning for the last, how old is my kid? 8 years, so for 7 years. And I just feel like, if 7 years after something has passed, something that I've already let go, if it comes back and it starts, attacking me again, why should I have any kind of, oh, I hope the best over there? Like, no, I don't. I don't. I genuinely do not. I'm genuinely tired of being nice.
I get that. I get that. And to you, it's even more like because your action there's action still being taken to you, even eight
Right.
years later. Like I said, eight, however many years later, I wake up, I'm still haunted by the ghosts. But
Hmm.
it's not action that's continuously going, in my day to day life. I can kind of talk to myself and be like, Ray, why are you thinking about this stuff? Why are you dwelling in this stuff? Why do you want to sit in this for a second? All right, we'll sit in it for a second, but it's in the past. You can't. There's nothing you could change. You could just hope for, You just got to have hope now moving forward.
Right. But then also
So
with
do
it
you
being in the
feel you
past,
lost
we're
all
supposed
hope?
to no. I don't feel like I lost all hope or anything like that. I'm just expressing how I feel. Um, but with it being in the past, we're supposed to learn from our past that we don't repeat it,
Hmm.
right? But when I look in my past, like I said, all I see is that I attract negativity. And especially with the situation with your wife was my friend. I brought that person into our family.
Hmm.
And then everyone else who I listed off that has, hurt me greatly. It's like I'm the one. I'm the weakest link. I'm the one who allows this energy not only into my
Is
life,
it
but it
though?
affects my family as well.
Is it though? Because like once again, it's all perspective. You can look at it very pessimistically and look at it as the cup half empty, or you could look at it as the cup half full. I mean, I got kids out of this, right? The best part of my ex, I have to this day, my kids. So why would that? Why is any like if I were to go back in time and change it, knowing that I could erase all the pain I had, I would erase my kids.
Hmm.
And erasing my kids, like, okay, I could say, all right, I'll have a kid with somebody else, but that's a different DNA. Those are completely different kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could go back in time, take those actions, and then still have the memories of my kids and be like, what did I do? Like, I listen, once again, it's all perspective. It's the way you look at things. And I can go down the laundry list of the things on how, like, your life is better now, right? I can tell you though, to point out the obvious. All your kids are healthy, right? You're working from home.
That's always my
You're
go-to.
you
Like, oh, I have happy, healthy children. That's what I hold on to. Happy, healthy children.
you may not
Jesus.
have the best kids in the world, but you definitely don't have the worst kids in the world, right?
Hmm.
They could be worse. Um, you have a home. You have your own home, right? Like I could go down the laundry list, and I think that's what a lot of people don't really do. They don't really take they don't look at like they don't take self inventory and see all the blessings they have for them to be so negative with their lives. And once you take in the blessings, like yo, you're breathing, you're healthy, you're eating, you got all the basics. You have your own home, you have your car. Like once you take in all your blessings, then you can stop and say, you know what, life is not that bad. There's no reason why I should hold this hostility. I'm just gonna go and wish for everybody to have this greatness. It's like you gotta take inventory. Like this is what we said the last episode. Take in, look inside for validation. This is how you validate with those simple staples in your life. Just saying, hey, look, at least I don't have to struggle for food. Hey, I don't have to struggle for air. Hey, I don't have to struggle, see my kids sick. Like there's people right now who are wealthier than us, right? Multimillionaires who are in the worst pain right now because they have a child who is possibly dying right now.
Mm.
And they're
Yeah.
watching this child die. And knowing all this money they have, there is nothing they can do to save that child. Things can be worse. It could be worse. And I'm not trying to negate any of your feelings. I'm not trying to downplay anything that you're going through because I know in the moment, when you're going through court, like court's the worst. I hate family court. This is the reason why, like, I try to work things outside. Like, we haven't gone to family court yet, and I hope we never do, because seeing that battle is just, I don't think anybody wins in family court, to be honest with you. I don't think so. I think if anything, everybody is traumatized afterwards. But regardless, I'm not trying to downplay anything that any of your emotions or anything you're going through. I'm just trying to let you see things in a different perspective. That's it. So you can hold on. You can hold on to all your animosity and all your anger, but at the end of the day, the only person that hurts is you.
What sucks though is that it's not anger or animosity or it's not like the feelings I have are coming from a malicious place. It's more so like it's been years and I'm still hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. And normally, good people, this is what happens to good people.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we live in a world where it's not black and white, it's highly gray. And most people who tend to see things black and white don't realize how gray it is. And, your hustlers out there, they tend to know that. They tend to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I get it because I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, man, I was dragged through the mud, yet she got everything,
Right.
right? She got the new hubby, she got the new kid, she got everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm still happy because I have peace. And when you have that, you could build everything else with, everything else will come in place.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have that peace, once you have that sense of mind, once you have that sense of self, which I didn't have before, right? So what's the point of building something that could fall apart again
Mm-hmm.
because I'm building
It's
it with the
very
wrong
true.
person? Because I'm building it with the wrong person, and I'm not wishing this for her, but that could be a possibility that she could build something new with somebody else, and then it falls apart again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not wishing that. Like I said, I'm constantly wishing for her happiness because I don't want that back in my life. I don't want that drama coming knocking on my door.
And that's, I really think that is the key to letting go is embracing the future,
Hmm.
embracing your next step, embracing the next choice that you decide to make.
Yes. Yes.
And for a lot of people, especially, coming out of a relationship, you should be embracing yourself. You should be learning yourself and discovering what you enjoy and discovering, what keeps you occupied and what you feel, is worth living for. Create
And
those annual traditions, those milestones to reach for and to, pass down to the next generation if you do become a parent.
and don't beat yourself up because you were a nice person in a relationship. That's just a reflection on the other person, right? Like you shouldn't have to coming out of a relationship. You shouldn't like feel any kind of like guilt or remorse for him because I used to do that to myself. Like I was like, oh, I was such a chump. I'm such a chump, and I
Hmm.
realized I was like, no, it was me. You know, sounding a little cocky. Maybe I was just too good for her,
Hmm.
and I just need to find somebody else who understands that. But I have to value that. Once again, I had to see the value in me and raise my standards and then wait to see if somebody else can be at that standard.
Right.
And if there isn't somebody on that standards, I'm okay being alone too. What up, Buzz? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for rocking with us. So yeah.
So, motivation to let go. Do you guys have anything to contribute? Join the conversation, share your opinions.
But it's hard. It's hard. Even though I know listen, I could say I let go like 93%. I'll say 93%. Because there'll be the times where shit pops up in my head and I'm like, oh my God, I was going to do this today. And
Hmm.
it happens because, like I said, I have, uh, like, I feel like I have a really, like, really good memory. So I
Hmm.
relive a lot of the stuff that happened to me. I can't erase things. And the things I do erase, like you were mentioning, what was it? A few episodes ago, we were talking
Hmm.
about flirting, and it just something popped in about flirting, and it was just like, fuck. Now I gotta relive that.
Hmm.
But that's all it is. It's just a fucking memory. That's it. Let it go.
Right.
And I tell myself that once again. I don't understand how people don't have that inner monologue because my inner monologue, I talk to myself. I'm like, bro, why are you fucking thinking about this?
Hmm.
This happened years ago. Why you want to think about this? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to be in my fields. You want to be in your fields, dumbass? Let's go do something. So I'm like, okay, what we're doing? We're gonna go have fun. Let's go, and that's it. I'll just go out or do something. It's like, listen, you're not living through this. Why live in the past of it? It's
Hmm.
not happening to you now. Just let it go. But it's hard. It really is hard.
It's important to to let yourself feel those emotions because that is part of the healing process.
It is.
You can't just pretend it didn't happen or just try and swallow it down and pretend it didn't affect you because that's not letting it go. That's bottling it up
Yep.
and carrying it with you.
And
What
that's
you
where
want to
you.
do is you
That's.
want that release. You want to let it
Mm-hmm.
out.
And that's what leads to all the holics, right? The shopaholic or the alcoholic or the
Mhm.
foodaholic, right? All the stuff where people they're masking the pain. And it's funny because I just watched well, it's the holiday season, so we're watching Christmas movies. And a lot of Christmas movies is about redemption, right? Like Scrooge or Christmas Carol. Well, we were watching Eight Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler cartoon, right?
Mhm.
And there's one scene where he's like getting drunk and he breaks into a mall. And in his drunken state, he sees all the logos. They're all talking to him, and they sing the song about how he has to cry and let go. And for like 30, no, it was like almost 20 years, like 20 years, he was carrying a letter that his parents wrote the night that they died. And his parents dying at the age of 12 is what caused him to become an alcoholic and pretty much, and everybody in town, they were like, oh, he was such a great kid, but that tragic night kind of changed him, right? So he sits in the thing and he opens the letter and he finally reads the card, and that's when it's like all the emotion just pours out. He just starts crying, right?
Mhm.
And that's exactly what it is. Like you gotta like if memories keep popping up, you gotta live in that for him. You gotta take it in. You gotta live in it. You gotta
Yeah.
kind of embrace it. You gotta be like, "Well, I'm feeling this." You gotta address it,
Yeah.
but then you gotta have the strength in you to keep moving forward.
And in
Because that's
feeling
another thing. You
it,
don't want to sit in it forever.
right, but in feeling it, it's also, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Like it's okay that you've been hurt. It's okay that you've felt disappointment. It's okay that you felt
Hmm.
failure. It's
Yep.
things, it's what we survive through that makes us stronger. It's
Right.
how we gain wisdom. It's why we say, respect your elders, because they've lived through so much
Hmm.
that they've found wisdom through each of those seasons in their lifetime.
Right.
And
And,
like life is hard. It's not meant to be, all rainbows and butterflies. I mean, ultimately life is simple, but it's hard. Like you just have to eat, keep your body fit, and just push through. Life is pretty simple, but
well, it's like the saying goes, life sucks, but then you die. But would you want to, any different ride? No,
any other
you
way,
don't.
right?
That's what you got
Hmm.
to do it. If you weren't born into wealth, if you weren't born, with that easy shortcut ticket to life, then make the most of it, right? It's like, listen, it's gonna suck. Embrace the suck.
Hmm.
But that's what it is. This is your life. It's your story. Keep on writing it. And like the thing I hate to hear, and the thing I hate to see is people who give up on love, right? Give up on finding somebody, give up on moving forward. People who you know, change themselves. Like they'll have a bad relationship or something bad would happen to them and then they become a completely different person. It's like, why change yourself?
Hmm.
I tried doing that. Like I went down the road where I was trying to be a different person, right? And I had the outcome I wanted, but then I was like, what am I chasing after? Did I really want to be one of those guys who are just chasing after endless sex? And then afterwards, like, you're still feeling empty? It's like, no, I don't want to be that.
Hmm.
So then I realized, I'm going to go back to who I am. I'm just going to be smarter about it. So what I would tell you is don't change the fact that you're a good person. Just be smart about being a good person. Don't just be a good person to everybody because there are some hustlers out here. That's it. And it's okay. They could be a hustler. Just don't be around them. Don't be around me. That's it. Like I'm not gonna hate on you for hustling and knowing how to play the game. I just don't want to play the game with you. That's it.
Right. I'm also like worried that, being in so many failed relationships, like my heart has hardened. And so I'm not as like sweet as I used to be, like I don't want to put that same effort into pursuing somebody. And what I get from that is that I'm not ready to be in a relationship. But it's scary because it's like, well, will I always feel this way? Am I always going to be this guarded? Am I always going to, second guess everyone around me.
Yes, you will, but you also got to be. I mean, you just got to be realistic. It's like, Do you want to grow old and be alone? Like, do you want to do things alone? Like that's like the reality. Like, even though I like to be alone, I don't want to travel alone. I don't want to go see the world alone. Like that sounds sad.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to do that, right? And I don't want to have to depend on my kids. Like, when they get older, hey, you guys taking me with you? Like, I don't want to be that kind of dad either, right? So it's
Yeah.
like I do know that eventually, I would hope that I would find somebody. But if I'm gonna get married again, no, because the reality hit me like, oh my god, I dodged two bullets. And the way this is, the laws are set up, I'll have a ceremony with somebody,
Hmm.
but I'm not going to put it in paper
Right.
so they could clean my bank account. Like, I got to be realistic about it, right? But I don't know, it's like, uh I don't feel like I'm jaded, I'm just reserved.
Hmm.
And this, once again, like I say, like I have a very high, my standards are up now. um there's just certain things I'm looking for. Like, if you're very outgoing, nah, keep it moving. You could be outgoing and friendly with that guy over there.
Hmm.
I'm looking for somebody that's shy. I'm looking for somebody that's introverted, because then that means that they're not tainted by society. That's what I'm looking for. You know, maybe somebody even more reserved than me. Somebody who's not pierced and tatted up and just going by whatever society says is the cool, that, image wise. Like, one of the biggest turn off right now is the freaking nose piercing that women love to have. That freaking ball ring that they like to have in their nose. I don't understand that thing. I see that thing and I'm like, oh, I just want to rip it off. I'm like, oh, that's like the worst.
I should definitely go get that piercing before Christmas dinner.
Go ahead. I'm not here Christmas. I'll be in Disney World. Go ahead. Do you?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh man. Are you
But
driving or flying?
I am driving 16 hours.
Woof.
But I don't mind driving. You do.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
But the reason why I say, like, I'm reserved with that, and don't get me wrong, listen, there's nothing wrong with tattoos, there's nothing wrong with piercings. It's that the person behind getting those things, normally 9 times out of 10, is because they're not comfortable with themselves, so they're seeking validation in those things.
Mm.
So it's almost like I see that, and I see like you have a lack of self esteem. So when I see somebody who doesn't have any of that, I'm like, oh, okay. My curiosity starts to spark. I'm like, all right, what else do they seem to have confidence in?
Hmm.
I'm going back to like the whole courting somebody. I know we talked about this previously in the channel. It's almost like I see, with our society being over sexualized, somebody who is reserved when it comes to being sexual, to me, that kind of my spider senses are tingling. Like, maybe they're not as crazy as everybody else.
Hmm.
Maybe they do have that self worth, that they're not endlessly chasing sex. So there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of things that but most women that I do meet, they tend to, within the first couple of checks, they're like, nah, no, I'm moving on. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, that's what we have for you. Just some closing remarks. I want, like, my advice to everyone with letting go is that it is a process. And the most important part of it is embracing the next chapter. It's embracing that decision to, recreate yourself, or to just look within and find your self-worth.
Let me ask you this, Lynn. In
Mhm.
closing, do you think that every time you think about your ex, right, would you pray for his happiness?
No.
Would you try?
Um,
Just give it a try.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I
I'm
think,
telling you, it's
you know what?
therapeutic.
But you know what? There was a time that I did. There was a time that I genuinely did.
So get back to that. Don't lose that. Don't lose that in you. That's that. Listen,
Tall
that is
order.
you. That is you. That's an individual in you. And this is one thing I gotta stress to people. If you've been hurt, and this is really where it's stemming from, right? The letting go. Like if you've been cheated, been lied to, stole, somebody stole from you, whatever. However hurt you've gotten, trying to find you. Don't lose yourself in that. You know, and try to find a way to forgive and then take it one step further and just wish for happiness, wish for that
Mhm.
happiness. I know I'm asking a lot. It's a lot, and most people can't do that, right? But you also hear the stories of um uh like a murderer, right? Somebody murders somebody's kid and he's at death row, right? And they want that, they're there when he's about to get the death sentence, right? And then
Mhm.
afterwards, they ask them, they're like, it's a sense of emptiness, right? Because
Mhm.
revenge doesn't lead anywhere.
Right.
It's almost like they kind of wish that they would have forgave him. And there's also on the flip, there's those interviews where they go and they talk to him. They're like, "Why did you do it?" And they're like, "I don't know. I was just a kid in the wrong place, wrong time, and heat of the moment kind of deal." And then you see the parent, and they're like, I forgive you. I forgive
Mhm.
you for taking my son or whatever. And then like you could see that sense of healing, right? That chapter's closed. And I'm not saying that they're gonna love the person. I'm not gonna say they're gonna stop hurting. They're gonna relive that memory all the time, but they did that inner work. That's all all I'm saying is like when you think about that, just wish him
I think
happiness.
I'm far off from healing and letting go. I think that it may be coming across as, oh, my ex, but it's not that. It sucks because he is continuing to, hurt me. He's continuing to just move in very shady ways. But it's more so the fact that the closest people that I've allowed into my life have hurt me in the worst of ways. So it's not necessarily him. It's the fact that this is the kind of energy that I find myself attracting that scares the shit out of me as far as moving forward and making new friends and moving forward as far as relationships as well. So I
Well,
think my healing is far off, but I'm focusing on embracing the future, and
you can't be jaded. You can't be jaded. Listen, fuck Drake. Make new friends. Like I don't understand that song. Like make new friends. He's like, no new friends. No, make new friends.
mhm.
Because who you were back then is not who you are now, right?
Right.
So as you evolve through life, you gotta keep making new people in that chapter.
Mhm.
Now, will you have somebody who's gonna betray you again? Yes, and that's where you're gonna feel human again. But you gotta always hope for the best. Gotta hope for the best. Gotta be positive. You gotta be positive. That positivity. And you are a positive person. Like you're, where I can have that positivity inward, and I feel like
Mhm.
I'm a rock sometimes with that positivity. You're like bubbly outwards, right?
Yeah.
So like for you to lose that because of dumb people in your lives, that shouldn't change you.
Mhm.
Like I said, just be smart about it. Just be smart about who you let in your inner circle. Who you let let them meet, the real you. Just
Mhm.
be careful with that. Be smart about that. But don't stop being bubbly. Like that shouldn't change your persona.
Yep.
Flowers can grow in the most oddest places.
Oh my God. Before we go, do you guys want to see how hideous I look right now? Look what happened
No,
to
we
my
don't want to
eye,
see that.
man. I just woke up like this. My one eye is just, it's like,
did
it's almost
you
shut. Look,
what's the saying? Mom would know the saying.
I denied
Did
a
you
pregnant girl something.
yeah,
A
did you take a
pregnant woman.
pregnant
I
woman's
told her,
food?
no, you can't have, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell happened. I woke up yesterday and I was like, dude, I'm hideous. That's what they say. Like, like beauty could be taken from you. You got
Buzz
to be
Buzz
pretty on the
said
inside.
Buzz said, I vote you let Ray to pick your next husband. No, I would never do that to another man. Listen, I know how it was to be married. I would never do that. I would never wish that to another man. Now, if Lynn wants to have a ceremony, like a life ceremony or something that just it's spiritual in sense and is not defined by law, yeah, okay. But I
Now
would
you
not wish
see,
that on
but
another
that's the
man.
difference. That's the difference between you and I. Like, like that's the reason why I'm the sister and you're the brother. Like, where you're in the position that you don't want to get married, I look back and I'm like, shit, I was stupid for not getting married.
Yes, I agree with that. But you can't change that now.
Right. So, I mean, if I meet somebody, I want them to put a ring on it. Yes, marry me.
But once again, you know what? We were both listen. We were both let down, not by our parents because we had loving parents, right? We had especially mom, a great mother. Um, but we were let down by society. Society lied to me, and society lied to you.
Hmm.
And this is where by us being older, hopefully we can reach out to the younger generation and say, hey, don't be like us.
Hmm.
For guys, it's not all fairy tales, right? It's not the happily ever after. Don't jump into getting married. And for women, don't fall in this hype of my career and I'm strong and independent and I can be whatever I want. Like, don't buy into that hype
Hmm.
because nobody tells a young woman that her prime is when she's young. Because that's what guys want. No matter what age a guy is, he's always going to want the younger woman.
Hmm.
So
And it works
society lied
out
to us.
because most women are attracted to older men.
Yes, yes. And where men are shamed, like, oh, you're such a predator for chasing after, a woman who's 18 or 20 or whatever, right? But then in the same sentence, they could say, oh, she's empowered because it's her body, her choice, and she wants to be on OnlyFans, and she's an adult and she can decide what she wants to do. See,
Hmm.
it's double standards. So you got to kind of erase those negativities out of society and understand what it is that is biological programming. And I think we say that a lot on the show. It's like, listen, women do like older men.
Hmm.
They like it when you've been through life. You show that you can hold yourself. Younger guys haven't been through life. They haven't had the challenge of life. They haven't killed that inner boy, right? They haven't gone through that hero's journey.
I never got married because Western women is a money pit. Ooh.
They are, but if you raise your standards, you could find one. I haven't found her yet, but I'm just saying, if you raise your standards, you got to start with raising your standards.
Thank you
You are
very much for
very
complimenting
welcome, Mom. You are very welcome, Mom. We were blessed in having you as our mother.
me. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Um, have a great weekend. We're going into the weekend now, so have a great weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Peace. What were we supposed to do right here? I'm always seeing the ticker countdown. Are you like, what are we waiting?
It's the end screen, so they can choose the next video.
Oh,
Not right
pick
now, not on
one
the
from
live, but
here
on the
on top.
replay. Yeah, on the replay. You're supposed to be able to see the next video.